Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Ojus Park. Ojus Park is a fictitious place, loosely scripted around a half-mile section of FEC track in Gladeview, just west of Miami, which I've condensed to 750-ish scale feet. At the center, running north and south, is Northwest 30th Avenue. To the east, there's a truck shop and a large warehouse. West is an LPG facility that houses several smaller businesses. A small spur and warehouse on the southern side, which is at the bottom of the screen. The board measures 8 foot 10 inches by 15.5 inches, stands on 4 pallets mounted vertically, and will eventually all get lights and shadow box. Today we're going to be looking at the LPG facility. The prototype has several different smaller businesses, which I chose to go with one larger business and use some very Miami-style architecture. I didn't have a lot of real estate to work with, so I used shapes and angles to help sell the depth. It's only 3 inches deep by about 30 inches long and 4 3/4 inches high. I wanted this section of track in front of the warehouse to really represent a lot of garbage and filth and overgrowth you see in this part of Hialeah. The fence is constructed out of brass wire, soldered together, and then covered with wedding veil material and painted. The vines and small shrubs along the fence help reinforce the feeling of a barrier to separate the foreground and background. There's always a lot of random trash in this area, so I wanted to represent that as well. The couch is made out of styrene and painted to look like it's been sitting outside for quite some time. The telephone poles add another layer of realism and dimension. The poles are made out of styrene, and if you want to learn how to make them, just look up Boomer Diorama. He has an in-depth tutorial on how to make these, and I'll put a link in the description. When I posted the pictures of the telephone poles, @something_someone_said made a great comment about using wire versus thread. He said thread didn't look right and collected dust. He was absolutely right. When I thought about it, I thought I might be able to use a trick that I use in leather work. So I pulled the thread through beeswax to change the consistency. In this photo, you can see at the top the untreated thread. The center is thread that's been run through beeswax. And at the bottom is a double-stranded wax thread, just basically two threads run through beeswax and then wound like a corkscrew. I think this system works for me. My modeling philosophy is, if I'm going to spend the money for the best locomotives, put in the time to detail and weather my rolling stock. I want to run them through the most realistic scenery I'm capable of making. So that's what I'm doing.